Hey, welcome. You ever feel like you're too much and somehow not enough all at the same time in your relationships? Or maybe you're just exhausted from constantly trying to make sure people don't leave. If that sounds familiar, then you are in the right place. We're going to talk about healing anxious attachment, but not by fixing anything. Nope. We're talking about reprogramming those old survival patterns. So let's just dive right in. Let's just start with this right here, because it is so important. If you're feeling tired, maybe even a little shamed of how you act in relationships, listen to me. I need you to hear this loud and clear. You are not broken. What you're going through, it's actually a totally logical response to things that have happened in your past. All right, so let's get into what that old programming actually is. I want you to think of anxious attachment less like a personality flaw and more like a glitch in your system, It's like an old piece of software, an outdated survival plan that's just kind of running in the background. Really, when we say anxious attachment, it's just a label for these patterns. The core of it is this. Somewhere, way back when, your nervous system learned to believe that love isn't stable, that connection is, well, unreliable. And look, this wasn't a choice you made. It's a deep protective instinct that got hardwired in. And to deal with that shaky feeling, your brain cooked up a really clever plan. It's outdated now, but back then, it was smart. Your brain went, okay, I got this. If I just become the best at anticipating everyone's needs, if I dodge every single conflict, and if I analyze every little detail, then I can keep this love safe. See? These aren't just random things you do. They're strategies.
And this is the real kicker. It's the big paradox, right? The very programming that your brain created to stop you from being abandoned can actually be the thing that creates more anxiety and pushes people away in your adult relationships. That old software, it just doesn't work anymore.
Okay, so how do we start the upgrade? Where do we even begin? Well, the very first step actually has nothing to do with anyone else. It's all about changing your internal operating system, switching it from self-criticism mode to self-compassion mode.
This right here, this needs to be your new mantra. Seriously, it's not some future, perfectly healed version of you that gets to love. It's you, right now, exactly as you are. And here's the thing. We can absolutely hold ourselves accountable for behaviors that aren't helping us anymore, while also treating ourselves with kindness. Both can be true at the same time.
Here's a little trick to tap into that kindness. Just think about it for a sec. What would you do if your best friend came to you feeling this exact way? You'd probably remind them how amazing they are, right? You'd tell them they deserve respect and effort and all the good things. You'd give them grace. The whole point of this healing journey is just learning how to give that same grace to yourself. So the real goal is to switch up your internal reaction. When you catch yourself doing one of those old patterns, instead of letting shame rush in, you meet it with curiosity. Instead of beating yourself up, you offer yourself compassion. That internal switch has to flip before anything on the outside can really truly change. All right, so once we've laid that compassionate foundation, we can start running some diagnostics on our emotional system. When that internal alarm, that anxiety bell starts blaring, what do you actually do? What's the protocol? This 3-step process is going to be your new go-to tool. Step 1, just notice. Acknowledge the feeling, but without any judgment. Like, I'm noticing I'm overthinking this. Step 2, ground. You use your body to send a "you're safe" signal to your brain. And step 3, hold space. You literally talk to that anxious part of you with kindness. Like, hey, it makes total sense that you're scared right now. So what is grounding really? It's how you tell your body's alarm system, hey, we're actually safe here. See, when you're anxious, your brain is in its fear center, that whole fight or flight thing. But deep breathing, for example, sends a message to your body that you're not actually running from a lion. And that helps the logical part of your brain come back online so you can make a good decision. I really need you to hear this, because it is so important. The fear is always that if you don't act right this second, you're going to lose the connection. But the truth, the absolute truth, is that a healthy, safe person in your life will never be lost because you took a moment to pause and get grounded instead of just reacting out of fear. A good relationship has space for that. It has room for you to take care of yourself. Okay, so we've learned how to calm the system down. Now it's time to install some new features. And this section is all about finally figuring out what you're actually allowed to need in a relationship. And this is the big one, how to ask for it. Okay, I love this question. Why is our bar on the ground? You know that feeling? You get so frustrated because you feel like you've set the bar for what you'll accept so low it's literally on the floor, and people still manage to trip over it. But the real question, the one we have to ask ourselves, is why did we put the bar on the ground to begin with? And a lot of the time, it's because deep down, we don't believe we're allowed to have needs at all. This chart does a great job of showing the difference. Let's look at healthy needs. They come from a place of wanting safety and connection. The goal is to build intimacy. An example, I need consistent communication. Now let's look at the other side. Unhealthy needs, which really just feel like demands, they come from fear. The goal isn't connection, it's to manage your own anxiety by controlling the other person. The example, you need to text me back immediately. It's a subtle difference, but it's everything. Okay, let's be super clear about this. This list, this is not a list of needy things. Not at all. These are the building blocks of a secure, healthy adult relationship. I want you to know you are 100% allowed to have these things. You're allowed to need a partner who is consistent, who can reassure you, who is emotionally available, and who actually works with you to fix things after a fight. And if the idea of setting boundaries absolutely terrifies you, just remember this quote. The people that are the most upset by your boundaries are usually the people who benefited most from you not having any. Wow, right? A healthy person wants to know what's okay with you and what's not. So when someone gets angry about your boundaries, it's not a sign that you did something wrong, it's a filter. It's just giving you information. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important phase of this whole upgrade. We're talking about building a truly secure system, one that runs on self-trust. The goal is to get to a place where your sense of safety doesn't depend on anyone else. Now, this is a tough one, but it's so essential to understand. When you start raising your standards, when you start actually asking for what you need, not every relationship in your life is going to make it through that upgrade. And a huge part of healing is being okay with that. It's about learning to grieve the losses while knowing deep down that you're finally choosing yourself. So, how do we do it? How do we build that unshakable self-trust brick by brick? Well, here's how. You start by cultivating a life that's amazing, all on its own, outside of any relationship. You practice saying no when you just don't have the energy. You go slow in new relationships, so you have time to see if their actions actually line up with their words. And this is a big one, you stop trying to save people who aren't willing to do the work with you. Think about it. When we're little kids, our safety is totally dependent on our caregivers, and that old programming can get stuck on a loop. The final piece of the healing puzzle is reminding your brain, hey, we're an adult now. We can want people in our lives, of course, but we don't need them for our basic sense of safety anymore. That comes from us now. It's an inside job. And this right here, this is the ultimate goal. This one quote pretty much sums up the entire journey. We're no longer abandoning ourselves just to prevent from being abandoned. It's that moment you finally stop shrinking. You stop staying quiet. You stop ignoring what you need just to keep someone around. You stop abandoning yourself first. Because really, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, isn't it? It's about building a foundation of self-trust, self-compassion, and self-respect that is so rock solid that you can show up in your relationships from a place of wholeness instead of a place of fear. And that's not just how you heal anxious attachment. That's how you build a truly incredible life.